Me down, keep me safe, safe and safe. I'm not sure what's going on. This. Good morning, guys. Good morning, everybody. It is the day before the once in a lifetime solar eclipse. And we are here early in the morning doing what we do. Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing? Happy Sunday morning to you all. I'm a little bit under the weather, and I think I did that to myself. But I'm gonna take care of it later on. But God, me wake you up early. I'm late. Which one is it? Yeah. Which one is it, sis? Good morning. How you doing? How you doing? Watch your son. Where did my Ipa come from? Good morning, my love. Good to see you. Good to see you. We are at the end of the book of Matthew. Can you believe it? Yeah, we have chapters 27 and 28 to read this morning. Yeah, we should have been an hour and a half into it already, but worry not. We worry not. All right. We just keep on doing what we do. Okay. Yesterday we read those last few chapters about the betrayal of Jesus and him having predicted the betrayal, having predicted his own betrayal, and voila, it did come true, because Peter denied him 3 times before the rooster crowed. Peter denied him 3 times, and we saw where Judas Iscariot kissed him in order to identify him to the rest of his Judas Iscariot's the gang that he had brought to crucify Jesus. The gang that he had brought to crucify Jesus, he had to kiss him, and that had brought up a conversation yesterday about why he had to kiss him to identify him, knowing that Jesus was, according to the scriptures, Jesus was traveling all over that place. He was traveling all over, going from place to place, from city to city. He had been doing that for a minute, and so you would think that with him having been there and having been traveling through all these cities and having gathering all this following, that people by now would know who he was. And once you said Jesus, they would have known who it was and what he looked like, because not only would people be describing him, but he would have specific features that would make him stand out from the others. So the question yesterday about whether or not he looked like the others and he was not distinguishable enough is a really, really valid question. For those of you who are just coming, welcome, good morning. Thank you all so much for coming. It's another morning on my talk and my tube where we read the Bible and talk about it. Now, this is not your usual Bible study. I am no theologian. I do not preach scriptures. I'm not a preacher, not a pastor. Don't intend to be. I am just a simple person, just like you. All I'm trying to do is to read the Bible for myself, and I have chosen to share this experience with you all as I try to conquer this quest of reading the Bible from beginning to end and trying to understand its context as it is. So, just to let y'all know that that's where you are at. That's the channel you are on right now. All right. So, so as I was saying about yesterday's reading, where the concern had arisen about whether or not Jesus was distinguishable enough that the people could recognize him without Judas having kissed him. You know, it's valid, but we don't know. It didn't say why. It didn't say why. Or was it just so that prophecy could be fulfilled? That Judas had to kiss him to show the people that this is the person I want you to take. I don't want you to make a mistake and take somebody else. I want you to take this one. This is the one who is causing trouble. This is the one I want you to take. We don't know. We don't know. But what we do know is that Jesus had said it prior that he was going to be kissed. The one who is going to kiss him is going to betray him. And it did happen. He did say the one who is going to, there's something right here. So the one who was, he did say the one who was going to deny him was going to do so 3 times, and then the rooster would crow. And Judas really did give him up for the 30 pieces of silver, and Peter did deny him when he went with the people, when they captured, I'm going to use the word capture, when they captured Jesus and was taking him to the high priest. Peter decided that, you know what, since the others have gone about their business, the one that dipped the bread with him, yes, God. Yes, Judas was the one who dipped the bread with him, right? Okay. So he said, you can't make me lose my thought. Okay, so Peter, when the others, I'm wondering, you know what I was wondering? How come? You know, remember they had told Jesus wherever he was, they were going to be. But when the people came and captured Jesus, how come only Peter went with him? Y'all ever wonder that? Yeah, that thought crossed my mind. Like, how come? Hold on there. My phone is plugged in, but the charging still keep going down. Hold on there, people. Give me 2 seconds. Because my phone is at 7%. And if we continue like this, the live is going to be shut off. All right, let's see. Hmm, that's interesting. Hold on there, guys, because my phone is losing charge and it's not taking charge. This not seem right. Give me 1 second there, guys. Right, let's see if that will work. All right, so back to what we were talking about now. All right, welcome, guys. I see Richie T and the card and the others. Welcome into the live, guys. All right, you're welcome to share out the live and call your friends to come. All right, the more the merrier. So we can read together and understand together. Remember, I don't know anything. I am just reading it. So so don't say, my God, Trev, no know what me no know nothing, and I admit to not knowing what is going on in the Bible. I have even chosen to abandon anything that had been taught, anything that had been socialized into believing prior to me starting this journey. So I am trying to come into this with like a blank slate, and just trying to take it one chapter, one verse at a time. All right. So you are invited to get your book Bible or your Google Bible, whichever one you have, and read along with me, because for sure there are things in the Bible that you yourself probably didn't know was in the Bible. I have discovered that. I have found parts of the Bible that I didn't know was things that I didn't know was in the Bible. I know they have talked about the violence in the Bible, but the violence in the Bible always seemed to be justified, to me, the way I was socialized. It was to believe that the violence that was in the Bible was necessary, was um, preordained by the Creator, that these violence must occur for His will to be established. And I have read the Bible, and I don't know. The veracity of that statement is still it's still wide open. Let's just say that. But for us, for many of us, we will continue to believe that it was completely necessary, or that violence was completely necessary. But with that aside, we are going to continue with the reading. So roll on up and let us begin. I was waiting for Sister Winsome to show up, and she is here. Once Sister Winsome is here, we get the ball rolling. Good morning, Sister Winsome. How you doing? I see Anna, Poops, Rosalie, and thank you for the loves and the likes, Card. You are a gem. I thank you so much. I appreciate you. All right. So these two last chapters are the last chapters of the book of Matthew. So we are going to begin. St. Matthew chapter 27. Matthew chapter 27. When the morning was come, all the chief priests and elders of the people took counsel against Jesus to put him to death. Okay, so at this time, Jesus is now in the place where they brought him to the high priest. Remember, they took him, they brought him to the high priest, and they brought him to the high priest, where they are questioning him. Tell us, what make you think? What make you so special? What make you so special? What make you so special? What make you believe that you are the Son of God, that you are some kind of a special being who was sent by God. And they are tempting him and asking him to do all these things to prove himself. Jesus is standing here, he ain't saying a word. Now, they're taking up a vote to see if they should indeed put him to death. And verse 2 says, "And when they had bound him, they led him away and delivered him to Pontius Pilate, the governor. Then Judas, which had betrayed him, when he saw that he was condemned, repented himself and brought again the 30 pieces of silver to the chiefs and elders." So that little creature named Judas, now he was he was so ashamed, he was embarrassed that he had sold Jesus for 30 pieces of silver. So now he wanted to give them back the 30 pieces of silver for them to free Jesus, but it was too late. It was too late. Let us continue. Saying, "I have sinned in that I have betrayed the innocent blood." And they said, "What is that to us? See thou to that." And he cast down the pieces of silver in the temple and departed, and went and unalived himself. Ain't that something? Who else did we read about who did unalive themselves? God, help me out here, because I don't have it written. Did David's son, was it Absalom who unalived himself? Remind me there, please. I don't remember. But for some reason, this self-unaliving doesn't seem like the first time I'm reading about it in the Bible. I know God will tell me. If nobody else will remind me, God will remind me of who it was. I think it was it Absalom? I don't remember. But anyway, we are going to continue reading. So now Judas has gone to unalive himself. And the chief priest took the silver pieces and said, "It is not lawful to put them into the treasury, because it is the price of blood." And they took counsel and brought with them the potter's field to bury strangers in. Wherefore that field was called the field of blood until this day. Then was fulfilled that which was spoken by Jeremy the prophet, saying, and Jeremy they're talking is Jeremiah, right? The Old Testament called him Jeremiah, but the New Testament called him Jeremy, just like with Jonah. The Old Testament called him Jonah, Jonah, and the New Testament called him Jonas. The same thing with Isaiah. The Old Testament called him Isaiah. The New Testament called him Isaias. Let us continue. Matthew chapter 27 and verse 9. Then was fulfilled that which was spoken by Jeremiah the prophet, saying, "And they took the 30 pieces of silver, the price of him that was valued, whom they of the children of Israel did value, and gave them for the potter's field, as the Lord appointed me." Now, was that a prophecy from Jeremiah, or someone asked me when we reach? Maybe Matthew chapter 27. I'm at Matthew chapter 27, my love. No, I kind of get a, you know, some of this is questionable as to whether or not the events has the series of these events have been modified to present them as though they are true. No, I think outside of the box, and so because I think outside of the box, I do not just take stuff as it is presented to me. Because when I'm reading, especially when I'm reading like right here in Matthew, and it is being presented to me as though you see, these things were prophesied since the Old Testament that they would happen. Why does it seem to me like it's just too perfect to be true? No, these are my thoughts, all right. To me, it seems too perfect to be true. And that's what makes me think that there's got to be some kind of modification, to the literature. They're probably trying to diffuse confusion, but by trying to diffuse confusion has essentially presented additional confusion in here. And I know a lot of people not going to agree with me, but remember, people, for those of you who are just coming, remember, Trev is not here for agreement, for people to agree with me. That's not my objective at all. I am reading this and I am using my own thought process, not ours. I'm using my own thought process to analyze what I am reading. If you're not like you, I have to say, if it rub you the wrong way, then do me a favor, keep on scrolling. There's so much out there on the internet that can entertain you. If this is making you upset, I'm not here to make anybody upset. This is my journey, and I am walking this journey out loud. Okay? So here they say Jeremiah had predicted it. So now, let me see. God, say you have a little helper right here. What Jeremiah said about this potter's field? That's my question. What did Jeremiah say about this potter's field? Because based on the book of Jeremiah, I have established, after having read the book of Jeremiah and what Jeremiah had said and what Jeremiah had done, I have determined, based on that Jeremiah was not to be trusted. Okay? And Jeremiah was one of those prophets, one of those people, little mendicant Jeremiah was like a little nobody. He was a Benjaminite that nobody really paid any mind. And so, as we had seen before with other prophets, that when people want to make themselves more important and they want people to believe them, they come up with the most outlandish stories of encounters with the Lord so as to get people to believe them. Jeremiah was one of those people. Jeremiah said God told him he shouldn't marry, shouldn't have kids, he must go wear some kind of linen cloth and put it by the river Euphrates and pick it up after how many days and look at it, see how it's dirty. That's how the children of Israel were, and all of these stuff that Jeremiah did to try to make himself seem so different and so more profound in his prophecies than the other people. And that was why they had put him in prison. Because remember, When they are put him in prison, King Josaphat said to him, I don't understand. All you have to preach for the children of Israel is destruction. All you have to preach is death and destruction. You don't have no good words for us. You don't have no words of encouragement and leadership, and none of that. All you have for us is death and destruction. So this was the same Jeremiah who, after the kingdom of Israel was destroyed by Nebuchadnezzar, he was the same one who was given all these gifts by Nebuchadnezzar, because he had preached to the Jewish people and told them that Nebuchadnezzar was going to come and destroy Israel, and he was telling the people that they should go to Babylon voluntarily and go serve Nebuchadnezzar. That right there tell me Jeremiah was questionable. Let me just say that his actions were questionable, and because in the end he benefited so significantly from the destruction of Israel, it tells me that he was up to no good. He was behind the destruction. But anywho, with that being said, here in Matthew it is talking about what Jeremiah talked about, the potter's field and the 30 pieces of silver. And this is why I say I wonder if the literature has been modified somehow to make it seem as though this was a prophecy that had now been fulfilled. All right. Done to that. Let us move on. And the thing, guys, for those who don't like hear when we question the things that I am reading, you have to understand, not all of us want to be led like sheep, Some people want to stop, look, and listen before they put another step forward. You remember when we were reading the book The Alchemist? For those of you who have been with me for a minute, y'all remember when we read the book The Alchemist, and when Santiago said, if the sheep, all these sheep that he was taking care of, he said he could slaughter every last one of them, and it would not be until he was about to slaughter the last one that they would realize what was happening. That's how undiscerning sheep are. That's how sheep don't know what's going on around them. They don't look. They don't look around to see what's happening. They just follow. The shepherd goes and they go in the shepherd's footsteps. They never see the wolf coming. That's how sheep are. That's why Santiago had said that. Let us continue. For those of you just coming, we are on to the book of Matthew chapter 27 and verse 10. Let's read verse 9. Then was fulfilled that which was spoken by Jeremiah the prophet, saying, and they took the 30 pieces of silver, the piece of him that was valued, whom they of the children of Israel did value, and gave them for the potter's field, as the Lord appointed me. And Jesus stood before the governor, and the governor asked him, saying, Art thou the King of the Jews? And Jesus said unto him, Thou sayest. And when he was accused of the chief priests and elders, he answered nothing. Then said Pilate unto him, Hearest thou not how many things they witness against thee? Yeah, so Pilate asked him, you know, hear all the things what them say. You know, hear all the things what them say about you. You know, hear, you know, have nothing to say for yourself. Jesus keep his mouth shut, nothing to say for himself. When some say the potter's field is a place where they bury people. Apparently, yeah. Me never hear about it before, but me, um, I only the man there, when name, P Diddy Diddle Doodle, I only me here with the potter's altar. Somewhere in the Bible we had read also, we had read about the potter. The Bible talks a lot about the potter, and you know what's his name? TD Jakes, his place is called the Potter's House. I mean, was out of the Bible, him get that one there from. But let us continue, Sister Winsome. So Jesus ain't say nothing. Verse 14, and he answered him to never a word, insomuch that the governor marveled greatly. Now, at that feast, the governor was wont. Now, at that feast, the governor was wont to release unto the people a prisoner whom they would. And they had then a notable prisoner called Barabbas. Therefore, when they were gathered together, Pilate said unto them, whom will ye that I release unto you? Barabbas or Jesus, which is called Christ? For he knew that for envy they had delivered him. When he was set down on the judgment seat, his wife went unto him, saying, have thou nothing to do with that just man? For I have suffered many things this day in a dream because of him. But the chief priests and elders persuaded the multitude that they should ask Barabbas and destroy Jesus. So, contrary to what I was told before, that the people yelled that they wanted Barabbas, but I was not aware that it was that the chief priests and the elders had encouraged the people to choose Barabbas. I thought it was the people who just got up and decided that they wanted to choose Barabbas. You see, that's the difference between being told what somebody wants to tell you, with them modifying it the way they want to present it to you, because the way they want you to receive it, as opposed to you reading it yourself. Who didn't know that? Who knew that it was the priests and elders who encouraged the people to choose Barabbas? Because you know, people always say, after all what Jesus did for the people, when it was time for him to die, the people chose Barabbas over him. It sounded like it was the people's choice to say, give us Barabbas. But here in Matthew, it wasn't the people's choice. The people were encouraged by their elders. They were encouraged by the chief priests and the elders to choose Barabbas. Totally different story, right? Let us continue. Verse 20. But the chief priests and the elders persuaded the multitude that they should ask Barabbas and destroy Jesus. The governor answered and said unto them, whether of the twain will ye that I release unto you? And that in English terms means, which of these two should I release unto you? You know, in the Bible, when they use the word twain, Twain, it means like two. Some form of an ancient language for two. So when the chief priest asked them, which of these twain should I release to you? It means which of these two, Barabbas or Jesus? And the people said, Barabbas. Pilate said unto them, What shall I do then with Jesus, which is called Christ? And they all said unto him, Let him be crucified. And the governor said, Why? What evil hath he done? But they cried out the more, saying, Let him be crucified. When Pilate saw that he could prevail nothing, but that rather a tumult was made, he took water and washed his hands before the multitude, saying, I am innocent of the blood of this just person. So ye to it. So you see, even Pilate washing his hand off of the whole situation, saying, you know what, let me wash my hands off of this, because the people keep saying, crucify Jesus. And of them same people here, they just run behind the man and I say, he is their Christ and all of this. But my question is, were these people afraid? Were these people scared of what their fate might be if they stood up for Jesus? Don't you think? I think these people were scared. And if there wasn't going to be serious consequences, there is no way that the chief priests and the elders could convince the people to choose Barabbas over Jesus. The people must have known that there was going to be some serious consequences if they had gone against what the chief priests and elders had instructed them to do. So, can't blame the people. Can't blame the people. It's what they were instructed to do, to choose Barabbas. And I am sure that the people were afraid of whatever consequence it was going to be if they had chosen Jesus and said, let Jesus go and keep Barabbas in jail. Verse 25. Then answered all the people and said, His blood be on us and on our children. Then he released Barabbas unto them, and when he had scourged Jesus, he delivered him to be crucified. Then the soldiers of the governor took Jesus into the common hall and gathered unto him the whole band of soldiers. And they stripped him, and they put him in a scarlet robe. And when they had plaited a crown of thorns, they put it upon his head, and a reed in his right hand. And they bowed the knee before him, and mocked him, saying, Hail, King of the Jews! And they spit on him, and they took the reed, and smote him on the head. And after that they had mocked him, they took the robe off from him, and put his own raiment on him, and led him away to crucify him. And as they came out, they found a man of Cyrene. His name was Simon. Him they compelled to bear his cross. You hear they use the word compelled. So they forced this man to carry the cross. And when they were come unto a place called Golgotha, that is to say, a place of a skull. That's what Golgotha means. A place of a skull. I never did know that. They gave him vinegar to drink, mingled with gall, And when he had tasted thereof, he would not drink. And they crucified him, and parted his garments, casting lots, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by the prophet. They parted my garments among them, and upon my vesture did they cast lots. And sitting down, they watched him there, and set up over his head his accusation written, This is Jesus, the King of the Jews. Now, I have said this before. I've said this before, and some people don't agree, but I'm not here for people to agree with me. You agree, you agree. You don't agree, you don't agree. Keep it moving. But I'm going to say what I'm going to say either way. I said it before that after the children of Israel lost their coveted position of power and authority and prestige and privilege in the Middle East, after the death of David, because David was one charismatic, charming king who saw the value in land and land ownership, and he had a vision as to how to build this great dynasty for the Jewish people in the region, and he did well at it, because when the Syrian king at the time and David were friends, and when he asked for David's help to go to wars, David's exchange for this help in sending soldiers to help him was for land. So David was building this great dynasty for the Jewish people, and he did a great job at it. But subsequent generations who had been handed down the kingdom, they did not have the same vision for the people as David had. So instead of them exchanging soldiers for land, they were exchanging land for soldiers. And that right there led to the destruction of Israel, because the more land Israel lost, the more power it lost, the more authority, prestige, and privilege it lost in the region. And remember that historically, from the beginning, when the Jewish people had arrived in the region from Egypt, they were despised. They were despised, because remember how we read in Exodus? Remember how we read in Exodus that when the people heard that they were coming, the people were afraid because it was a great multitude of them. And when they came out of the wilderness, what did they start to do? They started to slay people and take the land. Slay people, take the land. When they crossed over River Jordan and went into Jericho, what did they do? Slay people, take the land. They went to the country of Ai, slay people, take the land. That's what they were doing. So everybody around was scared of them. So the animosity towards them was quite palpable in the entire region. And that same animosity had been passed down from generation to generation to generation. And that led to their total isolation in the region. And don't we see that continue even until today? Even though this new modern establishment of Jews are really Europeans. Yeah, they're really Europeans who have gone down and reestablished the Israel that was dismantled many years ago. You know, that and still the animosity reigns. The animosity still exists there from one generation to the next. Will it ever end? I doubt it. So now, these people at this time, when they crucified Jesus, and they put on top of his head this is the King of the Jews. It was just a continuation of their hatred towards the Jewish people, and the way they would go out of their way to humiliate anybody who was a Jew. Now remember, when Jesus came, he sort of he was sort of getting the people back together, but it wasn't that the people wanted to really get back together. They saw that he brought a different brand to the region because of his abilities to heal. So the people were following him because of what he had to offer. And even though they were following him because of what he was offering there, the people were still scared, because those around them, the last thing they wanted there was for any Jewish person to be respected. For the last thing they wanted to see was that any Jewish person would rise above the destruction that they had designed for them. Because all the people around them really hated them. And they knew that they would have so much power and influence if they were allowed to reestablish themselves. So the objective there was to ensure that these people never get reestablished in the region, because if they ever get reestablished in the region, it's going to be hell. Now, if y'all remember when we read the book on this foundation, y'all remember when let me tell you, when oh my gosh, King Osiris sent what was his name again, God? When King Osiris sent Nehemiah. Oh my God, I got a brain hell there. But when King Osiris sent Nehemiah to go rebuild Jerusalem, now you all remember all the governors around, what was their concern? You remember what was their concern? They said to the king, you're crazy. You are crazy. Why do you think these people have been destroyed and nobody wants them back around here? Nobody wants them to reestablish themselves around here. Because remember, them not pay taxes. They are not going to send the taxes to the coffers in Syria. They're going to keep the taxes for themselves, the taxes and the tolls and the tariffs and all these things. They're going to keep it for themselves, and we don't want that. Because when they are established in the region, everything is only for them. And we don't want them back around here. We don't want, we have to keep them underfoot. That was what they had sent to the king, to say he was making a grave mistake by appointing Nehemiah to be governor and to come and rebuild Jerusalem. Don't we see the same sentiment? Yeah, ever since Israel was reestablished down there in the region 1948, the animosity continues. And I am telling y'all that it's never gonna stop. And until me and Uno leave this earth, it is never going to stop. Because them sickness seem like they were preordained to me. But anyway, Taya, good morning. Taya, what's up? How you doing? You treat me like chop liver, eh? I mean, you have to tell me, so Trev, your phone can't call me too. Really? Ryan is here. Welcome, guys. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome, everybody. Those of you who just come. Those of you who are just coming. Those of you who are here long time. I appreciate you all. Welcome. All right. Let us continue, guys. Let us continue. For those of you just coming, we are on to the book of Matthew. chapter 27 we are on. And when they were come unto a place called Golgotha, that is to say, a place of a skull, they gave him vinegar to drink, mingled with gall. And when he had tasted it, he would not drink. And they crucified him, and parted his garments, casting lots, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by the prophet. They parted my garments among them, and upon my vesture did they cast lots. And sitting down, they watched him there. And set up over his head is an accusation written, This is Jesus, the King of the Jews. Then were there two thieves crucified with him, one on the right and one on the left. And they that passed by reviled him, wagging their heads, and saying, Thou that destroyest the temple, and buildest it in 3 days, save yourself. If thou be the Son of God, come down from the cross. Likewise also the chief priests mocking him with the scribes and elders said, He saved others, but himself he can't save. If he be the King of Israel, let him now come down from the cross, and we will believe him. He trusted in God. Let him deliver him now, if he will have him, for he said, I am the Son of God. The thieves also, which were crucified with him, cast the same in his teeth. Cast the same in his teeth. Now, what that mean, people? Now, from the 6th hour, there was darkness over all the land unto the 9th hour. So there was 3 hours of darkness. From the 6th hour, there was darkness over all the land unto the 9th hour. And about the 9th hour, Jesus cried with a loud voice, saying, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. You did hear this before? Of course, me I hear this. You know what on there? And about the 9th hour, Jesus cried with a loud voice, saying, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani, or sabachthani. Who here did know that? So, me not even know that Jesus did cry out and say something. Let me read that again. For those of you who never know, just like me, Matthew 27 and verse 46. And about the 9th hour, Jesus cried with a loud voice, saying, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. But it's in a question. It's a question, not a statement. So, that is to say, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. Okay. My God, why hast thou forsaken me? Some of them that stood there, when they heard that, said, This man calls for Elias. And straightway one of them ran and took a sponge and filled it with vinegar and put it on a reed and gave him to drink. The rest said, Let be, let us see whether Elias will come to save him. Jesus, when he had cried again with a loud voice, yielded up the ghost. And behold, the veil of the temple was rent in twain, that is in two. The veil of the temple was rent in twain from the top to the bottom, and the earth did quake, and the rocks rent. And the graves were opened, and many bodies of the saints which slept arose. Hmm. 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 That's interesting. Sister M&G, good morning, my dear sister. How are you doing? Good to see you, my darling. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for popping in. Thank you so much for stopping by, my sweetheart. We are currently reading the book of Matthew chapter 27. Yeah, I'm not read it fast, We are take our time because we want to, we want to absorb what we are reading here. I don't just want to call the words and keep rushing. I want to take my time, process my thoughts as I read. Verse 47 again. Now after Jesus called out, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? Some of them that stood there, when they heard that, they said, he is calling on Elias. Now, where could they? Who in the Old Testament did they call Elias? Was that Elijah? Because, guys, in the New Testament, oftentimes the names are spelled differently, even though they're talking about people from the Old Testament, as we spoke before about Jeremiah being called Jeremy in the New Testament, and Jonah in the Old Testament being called Jonas in the New Testament, and which other one? Yeah, several others. Isaiah in the Old Testament being called Isaiah in the New Testament. And so this Elias they are talking about, I feel like it is Elijah. God say yes. Okay, I thought as much. Okay, so they said here the man is calling for Elijah. And straight away, one of them ran and took a sponge and filled it with vinegar and put it on a reed and gave him to drink. The rest said, let us see whether Elias will come to save him. Jesus, when he had cried again with a loud voice, yielded up the ghost. And behold, the veil of the temple was rent in twain from the top to the bottom, and the earth did quake, and the rocks rent. And the graves were open, and many bodies of the saints which slept arose. Ain't that funny? I don't know. I'm not even gonna. Oh, so while Rich is here, bless myself, while Rich, my brother, how you doing? God says, signify that there is no more Jews and Gentile or Greek from now on. It's whosoever will may come. You say, are you saying that at this point, that's what this means? Now that he said all the saints which slept rose? Is that what you're saying? Talk to me. And people in the chat, you are welcome to chime in, The only people I don't welcome with open arms are the one them who like to come, come with their negative self telling me that me a blaspheme and me a this and me not to question the Bible and all of this foolishness. Yeah, me no want to hear it. You understand? So if that not come with, wanna keep it to yourself. But if you come in to, say something constructive, we will listen. But otherwise, yeah, me not entertain foolishness. So let us continue. Card, I'm going to hold what you just said in my thoughts, but I'm going to read along and before I even address it. 'Cause right now, I don't know what to say. When it, or she said when the veil was torn. But the thing is, me not want to just infer that or to draw back on any other literature. I want to read it right here, so. I want to read it right here so to see what it means. And I haven't read it yet. I haven't read an explanation for the torn veil just yet. So them tearing veil in two from top to bottom. He said the veil of the temple was torn in two from the top to the bottom, and the earth shook, and the rocks rent, and the graves were opened, and many bodies of the saints which slept arose. I mean, just go by what the Bible say now. You understand? So let us continue. So these dead bodies arose. I'm not sure what was the significance of that, guys. Why the dead body them would come out. And came out of the graves after his resurrection. Huh? Hold on, let's read that again. Let's read that again. And the graves were opened, and many bodies of the saints which slept arose, and came out of the graves after his resurrection. How would you reach at the resurrection yet? I mean, I see them say them bury him yet. Hold on. Hold on, something right there, so. Jesus just died. Yeah, them saying he give up the ghost. So that means he just died. And behold, the veil of the temple was rent, it was torn in two from top to bottom, and the earth shook, and the rocks were rent, and the graves opened, and many bodies of the saints which slept arose, and came out of the graves after his resurrection, and went into the holy city, and appeared unto many. Now when the centurion, right yesterday, guys, we're gonna come back to right this because right yesterday is blurred a little bit. Let me just say, right there is blurred. So let me continue and see if there's something. I'm gonna mark it and continue reading and see if, as I read along, if I might come across some additional information that will, unblur what I just read there. And the graves were open, and many bodies of the saints which slept arose, and came out of the graves after his resurrection, and went into the holy city, and appeared unto many. Now when the centurion and they that were with him, watching Jesus, saw the earthquake, and those things that were done, they were greatly afraid. And they said, truly, this was the Son of God. And many women were there, beholding afar off. So there were many women who were watching what was happening. Those were women which followed Jesus from Galilee, ministering unto him, among which was Mary Magdalene, and Mary the mother of James, and the mother of James and Joseph, and the mother of Zebedee's children. No. Remember Zebedee's children? I think, hold on, let's me tell you now who was Zebedee's children again. James and John. James and John, the two disciples. James and John, remember? They were Zebedee's children. God say, Matthew writing is not as detailed as the rest of the account. Okay. Okay. Alright, so I guess as I read along, that's why I say I can't jump to conclusion. I have to go by what I read in the Bible and then continue. Wow. Guys, let's continue. Verse 55. And many women were there beholding afar off, which followed Jesus from Galilee, ministering unto him. Among these women was Mary Magdalene, and Mary, the mother of James, and Joseph. Is this Joseph? Jesus is Joseph. And the mother of Zebedee's children. DJ Organic is there, Donovan is there. Welcome, guys. Let us continue. Verse 57. When the evening was come, there came a rich man of Arimathea named Joseph, who also himself was Jesus' disciple. Jesus, they have one disciple named Joseph. Hold on, they come to one Bible confused me, you know. Hold on, make we go back to Matthew chapter 10 and see the names of the disciples. Matthew chapter 10 and verse 2 and 3, the disciples. Me never remember none of them named Joseph. Let's go them over again. Number 1 was Simon, who was called Peter. Andrew, his brother. James, number 3, the son of Zebedee. John, the son of Zebedee, that is 4. Philip, that is 5. Bartholomew, that is 6. Thomas, number 7. Matthew, number 8. James, the son of Alphaeus, that's 9. Lebbeus Thaddeus, that was his name. His surname was Thaddeus. So Lebbeus Thaddeus, that's 10. Simon the Canaanite, 11. And Judas, the 12. So that was 12. Come now to Matthew 27. And it says here, when the evening was come, there came a rich man of Arimathea named Joseph, who also himself was Jesus' disciple. All right. God say, yes, Joseph of Arimathea. Minister that name there among the 12 that they told me about in Matthew chapter 10. I see that name. There was no Joseph there. But now they say this Joseph was also a disciple of Jesus. Anyway, let us continue. That is another discrepancy there, guys. And for those of you who have been reading with me, we have found discrepancies to be many as we have been reading the Bible. But we will continue reading. Not one of the handpicked 12. Not one of the handpicked 12. What do you mean? So there was handpicked 12 and non-handpicked 12? Or the handpicked 12 and then the other people who were following him? But them not call the other people his disciples. There were lots of other people who were following him, but them not call them the disciples. So isn't it odd that they said this one was one of his disciples, though they had already given us the name of the 12? And it's repeatedly spoken about the 12 disciples. So give me one justification. With or without, we're going to move right along. Verse 58. He went to Pilate and begged for the body of Jesus. Then Pilate commanded the body to be delivered. So this Joseph here begged for Jesus' body. And Pilate ordered the body to be delivered. And when Joseph had taken the body, he wrapped it in a clean linen cloth. Kaysen, bless up your nice clean self. Good morning. Happy Sunday morning to you, my love. Good to see you, my darling. I hope you're having a great morning. Let us continue. And when Joseph had taken the body, he wrapped it in a clean linen cloth and laid it in his own new tomb, which he had hewn out in the rock. So he cut out a tomb in the rock. So now he laid the body there, and he rolled a great stone to the door of the sepulchre and departed. Let us continue. Now I paused there because I went back to 53 to look at where they say, and the people came out of the graves after his resurrection. And I'm wondering why that after his resurrection, why that statement came before he was buried. Because you can't resurrect before you're buried. You have to bury first, right? You can't put the cat in front of the horse. So right there is a little bit muddy right there, to say the least. Mix up Barry, bless up yourself. Happy Sunday morning to you. Me right to the phone a lose, the phone a dead. Me tell you say the phone a dead. I think I joke now. No. Alright, let me open this. It's the charge. Alright, let us continue. Okay, so as I was saying, you see, I not understand right there, so because you can't resurrect before you're buried. You have to bury first and then resurrect. But we're going to continue. We are on to chapter 60, chapter 27, verse 60. And laid it in his own new tomb, which he had hewn out of a rock. And he rolled a great stone to the door of the sepulchre and departed. And there was Mary Magdalene and the other Mary. All right, so those are the two Marys that they had spoken about in verse 56. Mary Magdalene and Mary, the mother of James. And them not say Jesus here, so I'm not going to say Jesus. It's a Joses. So there were three women. There was Mary Magdalene. There was Mary, the mother of James and Joseph, and then the mother of Zebedee's children, James and John. Okay, let us continue. Verse 62. Now, the next verse 61, and there was Mary Magdalene and the other Mary sitting over against the sepulchre. Now the next day that followed the day of the preparation, the chief priests and Pharisees came together unto Pilate, saying, Sir, we remember that deceiver said, while he was yet alive, after 3 days I will rise again. Command therefore that the sepulchre be made sure until the 3rd day, lest his disciples come by night and steal him away, and say unto the people, He is risen from the dead. So the last error shall be worse than the first. Pilate said unto them, He have a watch. Go your way, make it as sure as ye can. So they went and made the sepulchre sure, sealing the stone and setting a watch. All right, so you see, these people really nefarious, So you see, because Jesus had said that when he died, he would rise on the 3rd day. Here these people coming to Pilate to say, remember, same not gonna rise on the 3rd day, And we don't want that to happen, Because we don't want in disciple them come thief the body overnight. So let me tell you what we want to do. We want to seal that sepulchre that not even no farmer breeze can get in there. Not at all can get. We want to seal it that him can't come out. Pilate tell them, go and go do it, do whatever you want to do. Seal it and watch over it, whatever you want to do. So they went and they sealed the sepulchre. But now this was the next day after they had buried Jesus. Okay? Let us continue. Verse 64 says, Command therefore that the sepulchre be made sure until the 3rd day, lest his disciples come by night and steal him away, and say unto the people, He is risen from the dead. So the last error shall be worse than the first. Pilate said unto them, Ye have a watch, go your way, make it as sure as you can. So they went and made the sepulchre sure, sealing the stone and setting a watch. D, good morning. That Randall and Atkinson, bless upon yourself. All right, so now that they have made sure the sepulchre is sealed, we are going to move on to chapter 28. Let's see what 28 is saying. Chapter 28, and this is actually the last chapter in the book of Matthew. In the end of the Sabbath, as it began to dawn towards the 1st day of the week. All right, people always say, we know which day are the 1st day of the week. But since they follow the Bible, so the Bible here say, in the end of the Sabbath, as it began to dawn towards the 1st day of the week, came Mary Magdalene and the other Mary to see the sepulchre. And behold, there was a great earthquake, for the angel of the Lord descended from heaven and came and rolled back the stone from the door and sat upon it. His countenance was like lightning, and his clothes white as snow. And for fear of him, the keepers did shake and became as dead men. Now these were the men who had come from Pilate to secure the grave, to watch the grave to make sure that the disciples don't come to steal Jesus' body. And the angel answered and said unto the women, Fear ye not, For I know that ye look for Jesus, which was crucified. He is not here, for he is risen, as he said. Come, see the place where the Lord lay, and go quickly and tell his disciples that he is risen from the dead. And behold, he goeth before you into Galilee. There shall ye see him. Lo, I have told you. And they departed quickly from the sepulchre with fear and great joy, and did run to bring his disciples word. And as they went to tell his disciples, behold, Jesus met them, saying, All hail! And they came and held him by the feet, and worshipped him. Then said Jesus unto them, Be not afraid. Go tell my brethren that they go into Galilee, and there shall they see me. Now when they were going, behold, some of the watch came into the city, and showed unto the chief priests all the things that were done. And when they were assembled with the elders, and had taken counsel, they gave large sums of money to the soldiers, saying, Say ye, his disciples came by night, and stole him away while we slept. Ha ha! Panze, good morning. Alicia, good morning. And if this come to the governor's ears, we will persuade him and secure you. And one of the plot that the man make, that's another plot there. You see, using money. You see, money can get people to do just about anything. So they took the money and did as they were taught. And this saying is commonly reported among the Jews until this day. So, okay, then you're about to leave for work. Be safe, Kzen. We will talk later. All right, let us continue, guys. I'm going to say something cool, but remember, it will come to me again. Verse 16. When the 11 disciples went away into Galilee. All right, so y'all remember that there were 11 disciples who went away to Galilee, and Peter traveled behind Jesus. Y'all remember that, right? All right. Just wanted to keep up with the story. Then the 11 disciples went away into Galilee, into a mountain where Jesus had appointed them. And when they saw him, they worshipped him, but some doubted him. And Jesus came and spoke unto them, saying, All power is given unto me in heaven and earth. Go ye therefore and teach all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, teaching them to observe all things whatsoever I have commanded you. And lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the world. All right, this is the end of Matthew chapter 28, and actually the end of the book of Matthew. We have come to the end of the read. Sister M&G, let me see you on Lele, a plant fever grass and leaf of life and whatever else me see on a plant. You need to drink some of the leaf of life there and the fever grass there. Okay? You are so welcome, Sister M&G. Let me see what God said. See what he said. No, all nations, not just Jews. Well, you got a point there, Cad. So Cad is pointing out that right here, Jesus said, right here in chapter 28 and verse 19, Jesus said to his disciples, "Go ye therefore and teach all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Ghost, teaching them to observe all things whatsoever I have commanded you." Me have one question right here, so floating in my mind now, Cad. So it say, right here, so it said, then the 11 disciples went away into Galilee. All right. So we know that disciple, the one Judas had unalived himself. So that would have left 11. But he took back Peter, even though Peter denied him. Something not right there, so. Something not right there, so. Because remember, Jesus was there with the 12 disciples, right? Judas still him for the 30 pieces of silver. Judas was with the other guys. So that means that Judas was moving with those guys. The other 10 disciples, it would have been the other 10 disciples who would have left and gone back to Galilee, because Peter traveled behind the procession that was taking Jesus to Pontius Pilate. Peter traveled with that procession. So it would have been 10 disciples who went back to Galilee. Now, by them saying that the 11 disciples, taking into account that Judas had no one alive himself, was that to say now that even though Peter denied him, Peter was still considered to be amongst the elite and being sent among the others to go preach and teach about him, even though he denied him? That's kind of odd. Because if you deny me, that means that you're not believing in me. So how me I go send you to go preach, to tell the people about me? Kind of odd, right? But I don't mean says so, the Bible says so. Because it said 11 disciples. So if it said 11 disciples, I'm going to believe that Peter rejoined the other 10 to make it 11. So like when I say, so like it makes sense? Well, if it makes sense, it don't make sense to you, it makes sense to me. God say, yes, Peter was there when Mary came to tell them he was alive. Okay, so, all right, so you see, my thoughts are, okay, going in the right direction. Yeah, it's kind of odd to me that Peter would be considered among the elite disciples, considering that he had already denied Jesus. Peter said, "Me don't know him. I don't know that it's not it. Don't mix me. Don't mix me. Me don't know him." But Peter was allowed to rejoin and to go teach the people about the same person who him denied. Kind of odd. But anyway, that he did that to stay alive. He did that to stay alive. He denied him so he could stay alive. Oh, okay. He still denied him though. He still denied him. Because if he trusted him or believed in him, he probably would have said, well, I believe him. He will deliver me, he will rescue me, whatever they're gonna do to me, I am willing to die for him. So I'm gonna leave it. Let me leave it there. Somebody with I am legend. I am legend says after he repented. After he who? After Peter repented? Is that what you're saying, I am legend? Remember when Abraham lied and said Sarah was his sister? Yes, I remember that. We have encountered a lot of lies. We have encountered a lot of lies in the Bible, and it's always covered with Jesus encouraged them to lie. God tell them to tell lie. I mean, Abraham was not the only one. But I do remember that when he said Sarah was his sister. Yeah. The questions still remain. And we continue to read the Bible for the answers. I know a lot of you have either read some other parts of the Bible that would provide us with some answers, but since I haven't read those parts yet for these purposes, I'm not going to I'm not going to draw on them yet. But I appreciate you all when you tell me in the chat. Legend says he repented after he denied Christ. Okay. So I guess he sought his forgiveness and got it and was able to re-enter the fold of the disciples. Oh, okay. All right, that's not a bad justification for him being amongst them again. God says Luke 10 shows other disciples. Me I gonna look on it now, but I'm not going to take it into consideration. But me I gonna read it now. Let me take a look. You say Luke 10 verse 1. After these things, the Lord appointed other 70 also, and sent them 2 and 2 before his face into every city and place. All right, well, that is all the way in Luke. And I'm going to continue to read it like this to determine whether or to know, let me see how I should say it, to see whether or not how the story in Luke aligns with the story in Mark. So I can see the differences in the accounts. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, so I don't want to jump ahead and be reading them both at the same time because I don't want to confuse myself. Yeah, I want to take my time and reading. And I appreciate y'all sharing your knowledge, your experience, whatever it is. I sincerely appreciate it. Now, as it pertains to the Jesus part of it, where it talked about him having been, I really want to revisit that resurrection, where they talk about after his resurrection in chapter 27 and verse 53, that it says, and they came out of the grave after his resurrection and went into the holy city and appeared unto many. So I don't know if they wrote that part too early. Did you get the commentary? How would you say? Did you get the commentary from Matthew Henry? Listen to Matthew Henry. Matthew Henry's take on things and my take on things are not in alignment. I can listen a million times, but I have my own thought process, and I'm going by what I am reading, and he is going by what he believes. There was another guy too that my son recommended, that my son was reading. I forget his name. We were listening to him together. My son and I were listening to that one together. I forget what his name was. Together. but um, there are people who, when they do these analysis of the Bible, they have an objective. They they are oriented towards a particular goal that makes them modify what they say to suit that goal. Me not have, I'm not, that's not me. That's not me. Okay? I am not trying to indoctrinate anybody or anything. I am reading it from the Bible and saying it just like it is here. Just like it is here. Okay? So that mina him and I, his thoughts and my thoughts not in alignment. Yeah, but I appreciate it because it is the differences in thoughts and in ideas that makes the world so beautiful. And I appreciate the differences in thoughts. It's just that if me not have to accept your thoughts and you not have to accept mine, I accept that we are different. I'm different, you're different, your thoughts different, mine are different. And we peacefully agree and we keep it moving. That is how I see it. Yeah. So I appreciate what he does and what he says and how he analyzes the Bible. Yeah, me appreciate it. Just that on my thing that. Dr. Dre is here. Dr. Dre, what's up? Happy Sunday morning to you. I hope you're having a fabulous morning. Yeah. Legend says, but his thought process wasn't supposed to align, but bring some clarity. Well, it did neither. While Rich, you're gonna start your day. Bless up yourself, my brother. You be safe out there. Those streets are, it's crazy out there, my friend. You be very safe out there, all right? And I will see you later, tomorrow, whichever day. All right? Have yourself a good one. All right, guys. So, yeah, you see, the thing is, Legend. I don't mind contributions, but I don't want to be steered. That is the thing. I don't want to be steered. Nobody can steer me and tell me, say, yeah, yes, so you have to go this way, you have to think, or this way you have to do. No. You can tell me that you think so and so and so. You know, this is your interpretation of so and so and so, and yeah, that's how you interpret it. That's how I. But nobody can steer me. Okay. But anyway, but me appreciate the difference in thoughts. I appreciate it. Yeah. But if your end goal at the end of the day is to indoctrinate me and tell me, say, I must think the way you think because this is the way you think. That's not me, my friend. That's not gonna be me. That will not be me. Me, I am using my own brain and I am thinking. That's why I read it out loud so that those who are hearing, yeah, can those who are hearing can listen, and if they have read something somewhere or something, they can tell me. But that no means say because you have read something somewhere and you believe what you have read somewhere. Me, I will believe it when me read it. And also this thing work. It's a brain work like that. They say how much I commentary I listen to? I listen to enough. I listen to enough. Yeah. I'm saying me I go listen to some more, right? But yeah, I mean, I said I will listen to some more of it, but And I might drive that. Simple. Yeah. So anyway, lovely people, we kind of come to the end of the reading this morning. Trev, may I go all right, bless the pastor, bless the pastor. Yeah, so I'm going. This is where we're going to come to the end of this morning's reading. When we come back tomorrow, tomorrow is eclipse day. When we come back tomorrow morning, it's gonna be way earlier than this. By this time, I have to be at work, so it's gonna be like 4 o'clock in the morning when we come back to start the reading of the book of Matthew. Tomorrow we're going to read Matthew chapters 1. I'd rather read 1 and 2. We can read 1 and 2 in 1 hour, right? Yeah, we'll read Matthew, or we can do half an hour tomorrow, considering. We will see. So tomorrow morning, guys, when we come here again, we are going to start the reading of the Gospel according to Mark. So we're going to get Mark's account of what happened to Jesus. We already see Matthew give us his account. We're going to see what Mark has to say and then see how well the both accounts align with each other. All right? And that's where we're going to end this morning live. Thanks to you all for coming. I sincerely appreciate you all. I sincerely appreciate your contribution to the live. Thank you all so much again. See you all again in the morning at around this time, this same place. Until then, my friends, this is Trev from Trevessence, where your journey matters. Have yourselves a fabulous day, everybody. Win some. Have yourself a great day. We will talk later. All right. Walrich, Amazing M&G, Card, AG, Joseph, Legend, and I see Alta was here. All of my people was here. Thank you all, everybody, for having come. See you all later. Yeah, we cut there. Let me stay. Let me read. Let me read Matthew and see. Let me read Mark and see what Mark has to say.